She walked in, holding a clipboard, not a clutch. Her dress was plain black, frayed at the hem, the kind meant for work, not sparkle. Her shoes had no shine, just comfort. She carried herself like someone who was used to being ignored, and tonight would be no different, until the CEO called her my wife, and silence spread through the gala like fire on silk. The charity gala at Lexington Crown Hotel was a display of diamonds and ego, tuxedos, velvet gowns, champagne towers, tall enough to wobble under the weight of wealth. It was the kind of place where reputation walked before you and connections whispered louder than truth. When Emily stepped in, clipboard in hand, hair tied in a simple bun, no makeup, no gloss, she looked like she'd wandered into the wrong life. No one knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. A tall woman with blood-red lips and a voice that cut glass-eyed her from across the ballroom. "You?" she called, snapping her fingers. "Someone left crumbs under table 7. Mop it up." Emily blinked, stunned, unsure if she was being spoken to. The woman clicked her tongue. "Do you mop or not?" Around her, laughter bloomed soft, cruel, like silk knives. Emily glanced down at her clipboard, confused. She was here to help the tech team set up the charity live stream, not to clean up leftovers. But before she could speak, a manager in a silver suit swept in, all importance and arrogance. "She's staff," he said loudly. "Just do as you're told and keep out of sight when the speeches begin." Emily looked at him. He didn't recognize her. None of them did. She smiled faintly and nodded. Of course. She walked quietly to table 7, grabbed a napkin from the dessert table, and knelt to gather crumbs as a man in a velvet jacket whispered to his date, "Now that's dedication." And they both laughed like they'd told a joke only rich people understand. Someone snapped a photo. Another posted it. Gala janitor, working overtime. It would make its way across feeds before midnight. But what they didn't know was she hadn't been sent there by catering or facilities. She'd come with someone who hadn't arrived yet. Behind the stage, the event coordinator barked instructions while the keynote speaker's seat was carefully labeled reserved. "Mr. Alexander Grayson." Whispers stirred. The elusive CEO of Grayson Enterprises was attending in Persevere's sight. Most had only seen him in business magazines and blurry gala photos from years ago. But none of them knew he wasn't just coming for the gala, he was coming for her. Emily stood near the wall, hands folded, her name tag flipped backwards by mistake. The silver-suited manager passed her again, holding a wine glass. "You missed a spot earlier," he said smugly, pointing to a faint mark on the carpet. "Hope you're better with a mop than with presentation setups." She opened her mouth to explain. He waved her off. "Save it. Gala staff should be invisible." A waitress dropped a tray, nearby glass shattered. Emily bent down to help her. Red Lips lady rolled her eyes. "Of course, the cleaning lady is more concerned with glass than her job," she muttered. "No work ethic these days." Her friends giggled, barely hiding their disdain. Emily nodded once.com/collected, as if none of it reached her. Minutes later, the host tapped the mic. The gala dimmed. Light bloomed over the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," he boomed, "please welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Alexander Grayson." The room erupted in applause. Phones raised. The crowd leaned forward. And then, he walked in sharpsuit. Steel gaze. Presence like thunder wrapped in silk. He didn't go to the stage. He didn't nod at donors. He didn't greet the board. He walked past the velvet ropes, past the astonished security, past Red Lips and Silver Suiton, stopped in front of Emily. For a second, no one breathed. "Sorry I'm late," he said, eyes only for her. "Traffic." Her lips twitched into a smile. "You're always late." He reached for her hand, lifted it gently. "Everyone," he said, turning slowly. "This is my wife." The silence cracked like glass under pressure. Silver Suit choked on his wine. Red Lips turned pale. The velvet jacket man froze. The laughter stopped. The whispers swallowed themselves. And suddenly, the woman kneeling by table 7 wasn't the help. She was the storm. The host's voice faltered. Would you both like to say a few words?" Alex nodded, guiding Emily to the stage. Her steps were soft but firm, her presence now unmistakable. She stood beside him, glanced at the crowd, and said simply, "I came here tonight to support the cause, not to be seen." She paused. "But being seen for who you really are, that's the kind of charity the world needs more of." The room applauded, hesitant at first, then rising into real respect. The same people who'd told her to mop now adjusted their name tags, suddenly unsure how they'd treated the CEO's wife. She didn't need revenge. She didn't need to call anyone out. Her being there, unbothered, was enough. Later that evening, she stood by the window overlooking the city, her hand wrapped around a lukewarm tea, her shoes off. Alexander came up beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. "You handled that well," he said softly. "Better than I would have." She smiled. "They didn't hurt me," she whispered. "They just reminded me why I never wanted to be like them." A week later, the Silver Suit manager was quietly reassigned. Red Lips was removed from the gala committee. None of them were fired. Emily never asked for it. But things changed, sometimes silently, sometimes in a whisper. Because now they knew. and she didn't need a stage, or diamonds, or applause. All she needed was the truth, and the truth stood beside her, calling her by the one word that rewrote the whole night. Wife.